So now let us we discuss about the working principle of induction motor. Okay. So basically the motor which works on the principle of electromagnetic induction is known as the induction motor. Electromagnetic induction is the phenomena in which the electromotive force induced across the electrical conductor when it placed it in a rotating magnetic field. Okay. Here it is basically we are giving a three-phase AC supply to the stator winding. So because of that, in the stator winding placed on like this. So because of this current, the flux induced in it, because of the flux, the MMF induced in it, because of this, the magnetic field, the rotating magnetic field will generate in the air gap. So because of the influence of the electromagnetic force in the stator conductor will influence it indirectly on the conductors on the rotor. These are the rotor conductor. Okay. These are the rotor conductors. So because of this, the flux generated within it. So there is a interaction force between the stator and rotor flux. Because of this reason, the rotor will try to rotate in a direction. The stator and rotor are the two essential part of the motor. The stator is a stationary part and it carries a winding. So while the rotor is the main field winding, main or field winding. So these windings are displaced 120 degrees an angle. So the induction motor is a single excited motor. So that is the supply is applied to the one part. So that is the stator. So the term excitation means the process of including the magnetic field on the parts of the motor. So when the three-phase supply is given to the stator, so this stator, the rotating magnetic field produced on it, so which is shown in the figure. So consider that the rotating magnetic field induces in anti-clockwise direction. So the rotating magnetic field have the moving polarities. So the polarities of the magnetic field. So these are the magnetic field rotate in the anti-clockwise direction. So they are having the polarities. So they have positive and negative half cycle of the supply. So the change in the polarity makes the magnetic field rotate. The conductor of the rotor are stationary. This conductor is stationary. So this stationary conductor cuts the rotating magnetic field of the stator, and because of the electromagnetic induction, the EMF induces in the rotor. So EMF is induced in the rotor. This EMF is known as the rotor induced EMF, and it because of the electromagnetic induction phenomena. Okay, the conductors of the rotor are short circuited either by the end rings or by help of external resistance. The relative motion between the rotating magnetic field and the rotor conductor induces current as like this. As the current flows through the conductor, the flux induces on it the direction of the rotor flux in the same as that of the rotor current. Now we have two fluxes, one because of the rotor, another one because of the stator. So these fluxes interact with each other, and one of n the conductor fluxes cancel each other, and on the other hand the density of the flux is very high, so that the high density flux rises or tries to push the conductor of the rotor towards the low density flux region. So this phenomena induces the torque on the conductor. Torque means the twisting moment on a conductor. So this torque is also known as the electromagnetic torque. So the direction of the electromagnetic torque and the rotating magnetic field is the same. So that the rotor starts rotating as like this. So the rotor rotates in the same direction of the rotating magnetic field. So the speed of the rotor is always less than the rotating magnetic field, that is our asynchronous speed. The rotor try to runs at the speed of the rotor, but it always slips away. So that the motor never runs at a speed of the rotating magnetic field, and this is the reason because of the induction motor is known as also asynchronous motor. So that's why it is called asynchronous motor. So why rotor never runs as a synchronous speed? Because if the speed of the rotor is equal to the synchronous speed, there is no relative motion between them. So because of this, there is no induced EMF in the rotor conductor, and zero current develop on it. So without current, the torque is also not produced. So because of the above mentioned reason, the rotor never rotates at a synchronous speed. The speed of the rotor is always less than the speed of the rotating magnetic field. So now move on to torque speed or a torque slip characteristic of the induction motor. So this is the equation for the torque of induction motor, that is Em is equal to K into S E02 square into R2 upon R2 square plus Sx2 whole square. So the total torque produced are divided into three regions. Okay, first one is the slip region, low slip region, medium slip region, and high slip region. So before going into the slip torque characteristics, so first we need to understand the concept of the slip. The slip is a practically the rotor never succeed or catch up with the starter speed. So basically the slip is defined as ns minus nr upon ns into 100. This is a percentage slip. Slip means the difference between the synchronous speed and the actual rotor speed. So that is known as the slip. So from this equation, we can write as a rotor speed is equal to nr is equal to ns into 1 minus s. Please remember these two relationships in order to calculate the problems. So first of all, we are considering a simple problem. A 60 Hz, a 2-pole runs at 3510 rpm. Calculate synchronous speed and percentage slip. So he given the number of poles, frequency, and the speed of the machine. So ns is equal to 120 f by p. So 120 into the frequency is 60 upon number of poles is 2. So we get 3600 rpm. So slip is equal to ns minus nr upon ns. So ns already we determined in the first, that is the 3600. nr is given as 3510 rpm. So I'm substituting on this 2.5 percentage. So next question. A 3-phase induction motor is owned for 4-pole and is supplied from a 50 Hz system. Calculate a synchronous speed. First problem is a synchronous speed. The second problem is the rotor speed when slip is 4%. Third problem is the rotor frequency when rotor runs at 600 rpm. First problem is ns. So the ns is equal to 120 f upon p. So we know that the frequency is given as 50 Hz. 120 into 50 upon number of poles are 4. P is equal to 4. So simplifying this, we get 1500 rpm. Second question, the rotor speed when slip is 4%. So we need to determine NR. NR is equal to NS into, this is synchronous speed, into 1 minus percentage slip, that is S. So S is given as 4%. So 1500 into 1 minus 0.04. So we get 1440 rpm. So third problem is rotor frequency when rotor runs at 600 rpm. Okay, so please remember this relationship between the rotor frequency and starter frequency, that is F2 is equal to rotor frequency is equal to slip into starter frequency. So we all know that slip is equal to ns minus nr upon ns into f is 50 hertz. So I am substituting corresponding values, we will get 30 hertz. So S is the slip, R2 is the rotor resistance, X2 is the rotor reactance. So we are understanding of the torque slip characteristics. So we are dividing these characteristics into three regions: low slip region, medium slip region, and high slip region. So I am conserving speed on the x-axis, torque on the y-axis. So first mode in this motor is motoring mode. So in this mode of operation, the supply is given to the starter side, and motor always rotate below the synchronous speed. The induction motor torque varies from 0 to full load torque as the slip varies. The slip varies from the 0 to 1. So slip is varies from 0 to 1. So as the speed will varies from 0, synchronous speed is to 0. So if it is a 0 at no load condition, it is a standstill. From the curve we can see that the torque is directly proportional to the slip. So at a 0 slip condition, the torque is proportional to the slip. So up to particular point. So this is more is slip. So more will be a torque produced, vice versa. So the linear relation simplifies the calculation of the motor parameter to great extent. So after point, that is the maximum torque occur, after that point, if the slip is increases, the torque also will be going to be decreases. So in the nature of non-linear region, this is a non-linear region, so it is the shape of rectangular hyperbola. So this is the unstable region, this is the stable region to operate the induction motor. So this is a complete characteristics of the induction motor. So here we are giving the generating motor and motoring motor. So in generating mode, the mode of operation induction motor runs above the synchronous speed, and it should be driven by a prime mover. The stator winding is connected to a three-phase supply in which it supplies the electrical energy. So in this case, the torque and slip both are in negative. Okay. In the generating mode, the torque and the slip are the negative in nature, so that the motor receives the mechanical energy and delivers the electrical energy. So induction motor is not much used as a generator because it requires a reactive power for its operation. So that's why the reactive power should be supplied from the outside, and it runs below the synchronous speed by at any means. So it consumes electrical energy rather than giving it at output. So as far as is possible, induction generator are generally avoided. So this is the slip and torque characteristics. So in the generating condition, the torque and the slip are the negative in nature. So losses and efficiency. So basically the induction motor built with the copper winding having the copper losses, so which are in the rotor and the starter winding. So to calculate this, resistance of the winding should be taken into operated temperature, which is assumed to be 75 degrees Celsius. So copper losses means I square into, either if it is starter resistance considered, these losses are starter copper losses. If resistance is considered to be rotor side, so thus that losses are considered as the rotor losses. So iron losses, that is hysteresis losses and eddy current losses, these losses are constant. So these losses because of the hysteresis and eddy currents present in the machine. So third losses are the mechanical and friction losses or windage losses. These losses are constant and unless the speed is varies appreciably. Fourth one is a stray load losses, so which means additional hysteresis and eddy current losses arising from any uh, distraction in the flux distribution caused by the load current. So these losses are difficult to measure, so they are taken into around 1% of the machine output. So efficiency. So basically efficiency need to determine for any machine to know the performance of the machine. Okay, so efficiency is equal to basically output power to the input. Here for a motor especially the large one, it is difficult to measure the mechanical output. So therefore the efficiency of motor is equal to input power minus losses, that is treated as the output upon input power input. For generator it is almost impossible to measure the input power, so that's why the efficiency of the generator basically the output power upon output power plus losses. So this gives the total input. So with the help of these two formulas we can determine the efficiency of motor as well as the generator. So these are the nameplate details of the induction motor. Basically they given 3-phase delta connected 6-pole 440 volts and 50 hertz 100 ampere and 5 HP. So this gives about the mechanical power input at the full load. So 100 ampere means it gives idea about the full load starter current, and 440 this is the full load terminal voltage. So the efficiency is determined with the help of the formula, the output power to the input power. So efficiency of the motor is equal to full load at full load is equal to mechanical power output at full load to the electrical power input at full load. So corresponding parameter given on the nameplate details. So the electrical power input is written as like this: net mechanical power developed at full load plus losses, those are variable losses as well as the constant losses. So these losses will determine with the help of no load test as well as the black rotor test. Similar manner we will determine the efficiency of the generator with the help of this formula. It is given as the net electrical power output at full load to the mechanical power input at full load. Please remember these two formulas, efficiency of the generator as well as the efficiency of the motor. So now move on to starting method of three-phase induction motor. So why necessarily we are using a starting methods of the three-phase induction? At starting, actually the voltage induced in the induction motor is maximum, that is S is equal to 1 condition, since the motor impedance is very low, so that the current is drawn from the supply is very large. So this large current will reflect in the starter because of the transform action. This results in high starting current, that is around 5 to 10% of the full load current. So this amount of high current will occur in the starter as well as the rotor will influence, will try to damage the winding of the machine as well as the starter is low power factor. So because of this, the starting torque also very low and starting current is very high. So this is the necessary. So in order to follow the starting method to start the three-phase induction motor. So the purpose of the starter in case of the three-phase induction motor, as name as says, is not a self-starting machine. So three-phase induction motor are basically a self-starting motor. The purpose of the starter is to limit the high starting current. So this is the purpose of the starter we are using in the three-phase induction motor. Okay, so to prevent high current or to control or limit the high starting current, we are using the external starting method. So basically they are direct online method, first one. The second method is a starter resistance. Third one is auto transformer starting method. Fourth one is the star delta connection starting method. Fifth one is the rotor resistance starting method. So for example, I simply explain with this example. If the resistance is 5 ampere, 5 ohm, the current flowing through this winding or this resistance is, if I consider 10 amperes. Okay, if resistance increases to 50 ohm, in this case the current obviously will decrease with the help of Ohm's law. V is equal to IR, we know I is equal to V upon R. As the resistance increases, current will decreases. Similar manner, the starting method will prevent the high starting current. The resistance increases, the starter resistance increases. Obviously, the current flow through the starter winding also decreases. Rotor resistance. These five methods to control or to limit the starting current. Next, speed control techniques of the three-phase induction motor. Basically, induction motor are mostly used in the motor application like industrial control and automation and warehouse applications. So they are very robust construction and reliable and durable. So when the power is applied to the induction motor, the optional specifications, it runs at rated speed. However, many applications need variable speed applications. So in that case, we need to control the speed control. We need to control the speed. So in order to prevent the accidents, the speed control is required for smooth starting as well as the smooth stopping of the electrical or mechanical loads. This is the first requirement. Second requirement is a power saving is applicable or possible by using a speed control technique. So efficiency we can maintain. So we all know the rotor speed of the machine is equal to NR is equal to NS into 1 minus S. So we can control indirectly with the help of synchronous speed as well as the slip. So we all know that NS is equal to 120 F by P. So indirectly the synchronous speed will depends on frequency of the supply as well as the number of poles. So the speed controlling methods are the control from the starter side. We can control the starter voltage. Second one, the pole changes, number of poles. Third one is the frequency controls. So in frequency control also there are two methods: constant flux control, that is V by F control. The second control is variable flux or variable flux weakening control. This is the controlling of the speed from the starter end. The speed control methods using in induction motor from the rotor side are rotor resistance control by injecting EMF in the rotor circuit by cascading induction.